With me doing Saitama vs Ichigo a couple months back, I thought I'd pick another character from the big three, Naruto Uzumaki, and put him up against the likes of Saitama. However, before I start off, make sure to pay attention to more of the things I say and why I say them, instead of paying attention to who's the overall winner of the Vsbattle. But most of all, and lastly, enjoy. Naruto Uzumaki is able to combat against the progenitor mother of all chakra, Kaguya Otsutsuki. Kaguya, within a later portion of the war arc, is shown to be able to destroy her genesis or main dimension, with this dimension having a star moon within it. This is not only shown with the official OVA at the end of the Naruto manga and continuing within Boruto, but however within the manga itself, when Sasuke is pulled into the sand dimension in his battle against Kaguya. If you don't think Kaguya created all 6 of these dimensions via some translation issues with Viz in the data books, we know that she's able to destroy and recreate at least the main dimension when she was planning on sacrificing the likes of Team 7. We also know that this dimension is an actual time space, as it's directly stated by not only Obito, but Zetsu, Naruto, and Kakashi within the English version of the manga, but as well as within the original kanji, that it was indeed a time space. And Naruto, as a teen with a newly acquired 6 paths power, is able to go toe-to-toe with its very Kaguya, but at one point even overpower Kaguya, with Kaguya even calling him the problem within the fight and needing to separate him apart from Sasuke. However, this could be due to how the seals work on their respective palms, so take this with a grain of salt depending on your interpretation. With Kaguya being able to destroy this said dimension with a star and moon residing in it, being a space-time, then yes, she would be universal in AP and arguably DC, with Naruto also scaling to this via the aforementioned feats I said prior. One thing I would like to mention is that Kaguya's dimensions are not infinite, nor does size matter in the topic of dimensionality. Also, the universal scaling is not concrete in terms of opinion, meaning it is based upon your opinion and interpretation on if you want to believe in the scale. This is also a misconception due to websites like Vsbattle Wiki and character sets and profiles. However, as I said before, dimensionality and the size of the said dimension doesn't matter, and this is not the case in actuality. For example, the likes of 4 is inaccessibly above the likes of 3, and this would be the same for 4D and 3D as well. This is also why people oftentimes believe that a 3-dimensional being, such as ourselves, cannot hope to interact with someone of the 4th dimension. This is also why, regardless of the size, one would still be above high universal plus levels of power and would automatically be Unity plus due to how dimensionality truly works and the inaccessible cardinal between them. Kaguya's dimensions are never shown to be infinite either, with the main argument being that Sasuke wasn't able to teleport between the 2 dimensions, seeing how he can only travel through the finite distances. The conclusion would mean that the dimensions are infinite, however this is not the case in actuality. Sasuke is never shown to have the ability to open time-space portals until the Boruto manga, and the only form of teleportation Sasuke would have would be the Ameno TJ Kara, which is only shown to swap places with things which Sasuke didn't have at that point in time. This is also why Sasuke needed Sakura's jacket in order to make it to the other side and in order to even teleport in the first place. Not only is Sasuke not shown to have the ability of creating transportation portals in Naruto, but Sasuke is also directly stated to still be mastering and learning the abilities of his Rinnegan in specific, and as they are Anti-Hagoromo's Sage of the 6th Path chakra. Speaking of Sage of the 6 Paths, Naruto and Naruto the Last able to beat up the last descendant of Hamura, Toneri Otsutsuki, and just his Biju Sage mode transformation from the war arc. The reason this is impressive is due to the fact that within the 4th data book, it stated that the colloquial Sage of the 6th Path chakra mode Naruto used against Madara when he first awakens it far surpasses anything the prior Biju Sage mode transformation can accomplish. Furthermore, this same Toneri is stated to have chakra comparable to that of a 10-tailed god tree and shinobi absorbed Kaguya, and is stated to be the strongest enemy Naruto has ever faced, which would include the aforementioned Kaguya I had mentioned prior. This is further backed up, as within the last novels and the Sasuke Shinden novels, both canon to the main Naruto franchise and timeline, it's stated to have enough power to take on Kaguya level beings on his own, with Sasuke previously getting one shot out of his Susanoo by an even weaker Kaguya than the one that fought DMS Kakashi, as that said Kaguya was stated to gain an exponential amp increase in both power and speed by Black Zetsu. Keep in mind, this same Toneri is stated multiple times within the very movie to be able to destroy not only the moon, but the earth as well, because he thought the way they were using their chakra wasn't the way Hamura and Hagoromo had intended it to, and that the quote-unquote Sage of the 6 Paths had failed in his mission. but as I said prior, would ultimately get one-shot by Naruto and lose. However, in Boruto, the Otsutsuki would get expanded and extrapolated upon, and the higher-ups of Kaguya and those that she feared would come for her in the form of Kinshiki, Momoshiki, and Urashiki. However, we obviously don't count Urashiki, would come to Earth due to Earth's spatial curvature going from a 10 to an overall 16 due to Naruto's sheer amount of chakra. Momoshiki and Naruto then faced off where a base weakened Naruto was able to go toe-to-toe with an amped fused Momoshiki. Keep in mind, within the Boruto novels, Momoshiki stated 3 times to create a parallel dimension. We even see this parallel dimension with redshifts and nebulas within it. Within a fictional formatting or setting, a parallel dimension is defined as a self-contained plane of existence, often called a multiverse. However, within Naruto, this isn't the case, and is oftentimes just referred to as a parallel universe. Naruto is then able to overpower him within his weakened Sage's Sixth Path state I extrapolated upon prior, meaning yes, Naruto would be on these universal ranges of power consistently within both Naruto and Boruto. However, I will leave it up to your interpretation, as I do understand that the solar system scaling I provided earlier is much more appealing. Naruto would then fight the likes of Ishiki Otsutsuki and would then get beaten up along the likes of Sasuke. With almost no hope in sight, Kurama would then propose to use a form called Barren Mode, with Naruto's and Kurama's chakras serving as the kernels for a whole new type of energy called nuclear fusion. Nuclear fusion being a nuclear reactant in which 2 or more atomic nuclei particles either fuse or transform into subatomic particles. The difference in mass between the reactants and products is manifested as either the release or absorption of energy. This would also be the reason as to why Naruto absorbs life energy like he did against Ishiki instead of releasing it. Nuclear fusion is also the process of energy that quite literally powers the likes of stars, with the process being around 500 million times that of the amount of 2 atoms clashing together regularly. Keep in mind, to even hope of destroying a star, it would take approximately 10 to the 41 joules of energy to even overcome its GBE and completely destroy it. This would mean that Naruto would then gain an almost entire star level amp on top of his already base star level power, which would quantify up to millions upon millions of times of an amp if you took nuclear fusion's amp, however, hyper literally. So with Naruto having these universal plus ranges of power via the Momoshiki and Kaguya scaling alongside the true dimensionality and the millions upon millions of times of an amp via Barren Mode, one may put into question just how fast is Naruto. Naruto characters have been fast in light to light speed since the beginning of part 1, with abilities like Haku's ice mirrors being stated to move at light speed. This would be true due to the fact that he's able to intercept the likes of a rage amp Sharingan amp Kakashi's Raikiri while mentally amped but physically weaker. Even if you don't think the Haku scaling is valid, as it's only stated that it's possible for Haku to reach these speeds, Itachi's water bullet is also stated to detonate at faster than light speeds. Naruto as a kid would then be able to scale to this, seeing how in KM0 is able to body Haku to the point where he completely emits inferiority to the said Naruto. This would even be the peak of Naruto's power within part 1, as Naruto would then achieve the likes of the one-tailed cloak form in his battle against Sasuke. He would then get it 10 times amped on top of his already base monstrous power. However, during Shippuden is where the real scaling for Naruto's speed would really start to blossom. For example, with characters like the Raikage being stated to move at near the speed of light within its V1 transformation in collaboration with B to perform the double lariat, and with the Raikage possibly reaching the likes of light speed or even surpassing it within its V2 transformation, and this would make perfect sense. A newly acquired KCM1 Naruto would then go on to speed with the likes of a full power V2 Raikage, which would make him at the very least faster than light. Some have calculated this speed feat to be around 72 to 75 times the speed of light. However, I'll leave this up to your interpretation on if you think Naruto at this point within the series would truly be this fast. However, via the part 1 scaling I did prior, and with those characters already reaching those speeds early on, I wouldn't say it's too inconsistent nor outlandish to assert. Naruto would then achieve like to the Sage's Sixth Path transformation, in which he would dodge like to the Sage Art Light Fang while being held in place by Madara's individual limbo clones that exist on an entirely different plane of existence. In the 4th data book, however, Kishimoto describes the Sage Art Light Fang as follows, and I quote, "An ninjutsu used by those who gains the Sixth Path's power. They emit a beam of light to bisect the enemy like a sharp-pointed fang. It cuts all things with the speed of light, making it impossible for the enemy to evade, even one swing," end quote. Naruto, during the Naruto Red Season light novel that came out in 2018, was able to dodge like the photonic light beams, with its translation stating, and I quote, "A bright red beam shot out, followed by a low hum of photons displaced molecules. Not knowing how to operate the bike, Naruto instinctively learned the bike to lean aside with its body. The laser beam, without bending, passed right through Naruto's ear and immediately hit the fence of the private house behind them," end quote. And again, all of these feats and statements that I am conveying within the video aren't new at all and are canon to the main timeline, Naruto's canonical continuity, this being all 5 Boruto light novels, all the Shippuden and Retsuden light novels, the last Naruto Part 1 and 2, the Boruto movie, the Boruto manga, and finally the Boruto anime. With this being said, however, it would again be consistent with not only the inverse scaling but the narrative consistencies, with Naruto being this fast and this strong, being fast and light within its own verse, whether that being using calcs with KC1 speed blitzing the Raikage, or Naruto dodging the likes of the Sage Eye Light Fang that quote-unquote bisects the enemy like a sharp-pointed fang. It cuts all things at or with the speed of light. So yeah, Naruto would in fact be this fast, and there's nothing that contradicts it. But how would he fare up against the likes of Saitama? Saitama, known as the One Punch Man, trained for 3 years straight, consisting of 100 push-ups and sit-ups and a 10-kilometer run. Saitama, during the beginning arcs of the series, would fight against a character known as Boros. Boros, within the manga and anime continuities of the series, was said to have enough power to destroy the world and or Earth. One can interpret this as either all continents or Earth down to its core. However, within the anime guide, it's stated that Boros' warring cannon has enough energy or power to blow away or destroy an entire star. And with the new forms of scaling seen within the recent chapters of the manga, this may or may not be Wink. However, I'll leave this up to your interpretation. A character then known as Gaara would then be introduced as a mixed martial artist, in which Saitama would then face off and beat him multiple times until he would unlock a form called Monster Gaara. Saitama and Gaara would then clash, in which Blast, the #1 hero, would then say that they have enough power to destroy the Earth. Again, this is not individually, but together. However, this would later on be proven false. The two fists of Gaara and Saitama would then clash, in which one of two things would either happen depending on your interpretation. One, they push the stars and planets away, which would be a bare minimum star to solar system level feat, which would be consistent using the evidence via Boro, or they destroyed the stars, which was calced at around multi-solar system to galaxy level. However, I'll leave this up to your interpretation on if you think Saitama, within this part and point of the series, is truly this strong. For those down players who think Saitama is still below the likes of the planetary ranges of power, during the same fight, Saitama would quite literally sneeze away the likes of Jupiter. Again, Jupiter being able to hold 1.3 thousand Earths within it, and with it taking 10 to the 36 joules needed to destroy it, would mean that at bare minimum, Saitama is multi-planetary, and there's nothing that contradicts it. Saitama's speed might be a little contentious and controversial, but I think I found a way to make it fairly simple and understandable as to why Saitama is this fast. A character known as Flashy Flash would then be introduced, in which within multiple guides, the manga and anime and volume cover, is said to have light speed attacks and reaction. Not only is Saitama able to react to combat against the likes of Flashy Flash, but beat him, and when I mean beat him, I mean actually beat him. Saitama is then able to beat up the likes of the Sound Ninja, so this level of speed isn't too inconsistent for the likes of Saitama nor Gaara. However, before I end off the video and say who I personally think wins, I'd like to clear up some misconceptions and just untrue things on both sides, that being Naruto and or Saitama. First and foremost, Saitama is not a gag character. It is as simple as that. The series may have some gag aspects to it, but Saitama himself is not a gag. Saitama's name, known as One Punch Man, is also not a gag, seeing how we have numerous characters such as Gaara and Boro who don't die within one punch, like the name suggests. So please stop asserting that Saitama is this strong due to his name. He's not, and it's just an overall name fallacy. The Saitama being limitlessly or infinitely strong statement is also hyperbole, due to the simple fact that Gaara doesn't know how strong Saitama truly is, and because Saitama literally gets exponentially stronger and is quite literally shown on the graph made by Murata himself. Saitama would yes be on the solar system to galaxy levels of power or strength, and be fast and light and speed depending on your interpretation of where he scales, and there would be nothing contradicting it. Saitama would also not be immeasurable speed due to him traveling through time via hacks, as it's stated via hacks, meaning it wouldn't scale to him within his base form, meaning Saitama would only be faster than light, as he's only able to do this or replicate this feat while being linked to the universe. While yes, Gaara is the embodiment of the universe, and yes, this would not make Gaara universal by any means, so I don't want to hear that. But however, back to the main point, This would be a technique and or hacks, as I've been saying the entire time. And once again, Saitama would not scale to this, so Saitama would not be immeasurable speed and would cap at the faster than light ranges of speed. So with a higher display of speed and a higher concrete form of scaling, that being with Universal Naruto's universal scaling and faster than light's meta, one may still pose the question, but Tempest, who truly wins? And the answer to that is Naruto. However, only if you believe that Naruto is universal, as if you believe that Saitama is galaxy level and Naruto only being solar system, then Saitama would win. However, if you think Naruto is universal, then he wins. Also, Naruto has a far larger and greater display of hacks, such as the True Secret Orb that attacks your soul directly, the Rasen Shuriken that bypasses durability, and etc, etc. However, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below, and make sure to have a nice rest of your day. Make sure to stay safe, and until next time, bye.